Hey, everybody. Welcome to Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine. Been doing this for 17 years, and you'll find out why in a few moments. Joining me today is Derek Frisbee, my man, and from DF Sports. And just jumping into the fray here is Jim Hammer from Columbus, Ohio. How you doing, Jim?
Doing well, Moo. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I really want to get the show off to a very different start. I was kind of doing a nostalgia, and here comes Tony into the mix too. By golly, hi Tony. Tony's not ready to speak yet. His mic is not unmuted, so we will let him do whatever. I'll unmute him, but I can't. They chose to mute themselves. Well, we've been trying to do that for decades with Tony. If I knew it was that easy, if technology just make it that simple. I was doing a trip down nostalgia lane, and I stopped by the OBR.com, the Orange and Brown Report, which is Browns fans know of it very, very well. It's a forum, a fan forum that has been around for a long time, and I used to participate regularly on that site. And in the last couple of years, just kind of I disappeared. I wanted to go back and just say hi to everybody, and just to thank them for what they had done for me. And a few people remembered actually who in the hell I was, which was kind of amazing under the circumstances. And, one person referred to me as the original podcaster. And actually, it's true. From Northeast Ohio perspective, I was the first person doing a full form show. And in those days, God, it was tedious. That was the best word I could use. It was audio only, and it was a long, long time ago. But it got me to thinking, why do I do this? What is it that's kept this thing going for 17 years? And the answer to the question, and I want to be forthright about this, it isn't to talk about the Indians. It isn't to talk about the Cavaliers. I have fun talking about the Browns, and it's been a companion of mine for 17 years. But there is a spirit within me that does this for a reason. And I want to start with a personal story and then kind of segue into how today's news affects me. About, I want to say 3 years ago, 4 years ago, my knee was in disarray. I had no ACL in my right knee. I hadn't played a tennis singles match in 3 years, and I couldn't. And there is a tournament coming over to Longboat Key, which is just on the coast away from me in Sarasota. And I joined up to play singles. I wanted to play. And my first round opponent was a guy from Utah. And he was a guy who could run. And I was a guy who could limp. All right? That's all I was. I was cannon fodder. But, I knew that this was the last time I was going to play tennis as a singles player. I would continue on to play doubles, but never again after that day did I play singles. I just wasn't capable. I wanted to see what I could will out of my broken body. And the match was crazy. Guy goes up 4-zip on me in the first set. I'd say I better get a heavier racket and just start whaling at balls, because this guy's running everything down and I'm not able to keep up with him. He's just too quick. I ran off 6 straight games to take the first set and ran off 4 more in the second set, and then hit a wall. When I say a wall, I mean a wall. My knee was swollen, and hi, Tony.
Is this working now?
Yeah, you're good. My knee was swollen. I had gone after a short ball that the guy hit, and I pulled a muscle in my calf. I was just totally dead. I struggled to a point where he gets 3 games. I managed to get 1. I'm at 5-3. I'm 1 game away from winning this match, and it's like, oh God, no. And then I lose the next game, and now it's 5-4. And I'm in excruciating pain at this point, and I can't, and there's nothing left for me to do. I can't hit my big serve because my calf muscles pulled, and the motion in the serve and the follow through won't allow it to happen. I finally get to a match point, and he hits a little drop shot, cocksucker, and I limped. I looked like a pirate, Peg Leg Pete, and I flipped my racket and flipped it across the court and won the match. All right? Afterwards, I laid down on the grass and couldn't get up. I literally couldn't get up. And that was the first round. My second round match was tomorrow, the day after. It's like, no, I can't do this. I mean, enough is enough. So I called the tournament director, and the tournament director said, "You're telling me that you're withdrawing?" I go, "Yeah, I can't possibly." I said, "I pulled a muscle and, I don't have an ACL in my right knee." And, he said, "What you should have done is gotten to the match point and forfeited the match and given it to your opponent so he could continue on." And I said, "I beg your pardon?" I said, "If he was good enough to win, he would have won."
Yeah.
I said he wasn't even good enough to beat a guy with no ACL in his right knee who had pulled a muscle in his right leg. Why should he move forward? What did he do to earn it? This is the last fucking time I'm going to play a singles match in my goddamn life. And you know something? I was not going to forfeit my final time. That's what athletics are to me. All the talk about team sport, and I get team sport. What makes a great team is when every component of that team just grabs on to the last thing they've got and gives their fullest effort. To win with courage, that's what athletics are to me. And I'm watching Florida State lose to Notre Dame last night. And the effort that Florida State put on they put up a great fight. They would have won the fucking game had he started the right quarterback. Do you think Mackenzie Milton, for the last 3 fucking years of his life, when he was, first of all, look, there's a backstory. Who's Mackenzie Milton? Who is he? 13-0 for UCF in 2017. And the NCAA fucked him in the ass. They said, "Oh, you're the number 8 team in the country. Now you're not even in the playoffs." Fucking Indiana State went to the NCAA basketball championship with Larry Bird and 4 other guys that nobody remembers. And played Magic Johnson and Greg Kelser and a bunch of people we do remember. They got to play and lose by 20 points, so why not UCF? They're not a big enough school, and they're not a big enough revenue generator. And you know what they say? Guy goes 13-0, and he's screwed like that, and the next year he suffers a massive knee injury. And I'm not just talking about an ACL. I'm talking about ligament damage, tendon damage, nerve damage. The doctors literally said Mackenzie Milton would not be able to walk without a limp. They said there's no way he's going to play football again, and that's what he wanted to hear. Mm-hmm. And he got himself psyched up and got himself working until he got to the point where he felt he was able to play. He got a transfer to Florida State. Florida State has lost everything, including Bobby Bowden in the last year. The fact of the matter is Florida State hasn't had much of a program the last several years. It's really gone downhill. Coach decides, I have a choice between the guy who got screwed, who has every reason and motivation for wanting to play in this game in front of his home crowd, Or Travis, a freshman who's never played in a college football game before in his life. And he said, basically in his mind, well, we know that the future is with the freshman quarterback, so we're going to give him the opportunity to start. 3 possessions, -9 yards later, he still stays with the freshman quarterback. They rip off an 89-yard run. God bless the running back. Found the hole, cut back, went down the sidelines, touchdown at 7-7. But after that, there's nothing that Travis did that would make you think that he even belonged in the game. He was bailing out of the pocket so quickly and getting sacked. My God, I mean, the second there was pressure coming at him, he was running away. He wasn't even looking downfield. Now, does that mean that he's a lousy football player? No. This is not to denigrate Travis, and he'll come back later in the story. But by the time he was done throwing 2 interceptions and getting sacked repeatedly, it was 38-20. Notre Dame had taken an 18-point lead. They managed to get a touchdown back, and then they were down by 10 points and a 2-point conversion. Then Travis gets hit and his helmet gets knocked off and he's like trying to clear his head. And that gives the head coach the excuse, the weak-minded little pimp that he is, that he can take the freshman out of the game and go ahead and put Mackenzie Milton into the game. And Mackenzie Milton leads them down the field. They score a touchdown. He leads them down the field, and they would have scored another goddamn touchdown, but the goddamn snapper snapped the ball away from him and screwed the whole thing up. They kick the field goal to get the game into overtime. They get the ball, and the same thing. I mean, they miss a field goal. They miss a 36-yard fucking field goal. Notre Dame just literally sits on the ball and kicks their field goal and wins the game. I do this program because of the Mackenzie Miltons. That's why I do the show. For the Bob Beamons, who jumped 3 feet longer in 1968 than anybody had jumped in the long jump. 3 feet! Because his body was adrenalized. And do people remember who Bob Beamon was? Probably not. Yeah, I sure do. For the 45-year-old George Foreman, who'd lost his title and landed one short right hand and knocked Michael Moore out and regained the heavyweight championship. That's why I do this program. There is no I in team. What there is pride. There's an I in the letter pride. They better start this kid and let the team play. Did you see the lift in energy in the team when this kid came into the game? Everybody knew what he had done and gone through to get there.
When you know what the thing is, when you watch Mackenzie or Milton, whatever his first name is it Mackenzie Milton?
Yeah.
Sorry. When you watched him, quarterbacks coming back from an injury that huge, and he was phenomenal at UCF. He was incredible. They played LSU in whatever bowl game that was, and if he would have played, there was so much hype with him, and he, watching him in that Florida State game, he was not scared in that pocket at all. He stepped up, and not only you talked about
he scrambled and planted
exactly.
On that knee.
He was not afraid at all. And you know what? They showed his dad. I think I saw it on TikTok. And that, I couldn't imagine the emotion, watching your son.
Was wiped out. His mother was just blown up.
But it's not like this is a story of, hey, he came back and he was all right. He came back and he brought them back and he performed at a high level. And so there's no excuse, like you said, for them not to start him.
Well, and the other thing is, this is not about Mackenzie Milton becoming a professional quarterback. This is what's inside him. This is what drove him. Somebody told him he couldn't do it. And he said, I think I can. And now he knows he can. It does not getting publicized as much as Alex Smith, okay? But it's a similar kind of story.
Yeah, they were thinking about at one point in time he was possibly going to lose his leg as well.
That's
So-
right. I mean, this is, to me, what makes, I mean, me doing a talk show a couple times a week and having to talk about, well, we won, we lost, we screwed up, Wayne Rudd took his helmet off, da 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 da. You know, that's not what keeps me going. It's the spirit, the human spirit, giving of itself maximally. And being able to watch that makes me feel like there are things that I can do. And I feel the same way. And when somebody told me, nah, you should have quit. You should have quit and handed it to your opponent. Well, you know, how many people told Mackenzie Milton, nah, you just got to quit because the doctors say you're not going to be able to walk without a limp. And I wouldn't want to be the one to tell him, yeah, you're back on the bench next week. That whole period of time where they just went from a tie game with Notre Dame into a situation where they fell behind by 18 points would never have happened if Milton had been the quarterback in the game. He was solid in the pocket. The protection got better. Everything about the team got better. And they were able to run the ball against Notre Dame just like the first unit had. But Travis couldn't pass the ball. He threw one long pass. Wonderful. He ballooned.
He was running.
Down the sideline.
He was also running for his life frequently as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't seem like he had any pocket presence at all. He was like, as soon as it broke down a little, he was gone and
he
getting
was
sacked.
in over his head. You put him in against the number 9 team in the country. Why wouldn't you start the guy who had played a nationally ranked team in the past? Why? I mean, and who has every reason, every emotional reason to win. And you know something? The Florida State coach and nothing else was going to hold Mackenzie Milton down.
Well, and for people who didn't get a chance to watch the game, go back to that Jets-Browns game when Baker came in. That was the kind of lift on the team. Protection got better. Spirits were high. People were, fighting that much harder to make plays for this guy. It's obviously not the same story, but I'm just saying for people who haven't watched, that was kind of how it was like.
To me, he won. Florida State lost because of a decision the coach made. He won. His personal battle. Go ahead, Tony.
Isn't it funny how fate has cruel effects on the underdogs, though? You could say Thursday night. If Mo Ibrahim stays healthy, Ohio State's losing to Minnesota. In my opinion.
And he's gone for the year now.
Yeah.
His whole senior season is wiped out.
Tony, is there an official word on him?
Yeah, it's torn Achilles.
Torn Achilles.
Yeah, the Achilles is done. I mean, you see a foot injury happen. It's either Liz Frank, and it's like I said, that wasn't the motion, but the Achilles can happen anytime, anywhere. And it's like it feels like you get shot in the back of your leg, and that's it. I mean, that's a hard one to come back from.
That kid
And you could see it pop. That was the thing.
Yeah.
And they showed the replay. That was just brutal.
That kid had like 150 rushing yards at halftime.
Yeah.
Ohio State couldn't stop him.
No.
And they weren't going to stop him. And we were up by 4 at halftime. And then
he was probably one of the most scared, I guess you could say, I was of an opposite team's player, because every time he touched the ball, he was gone. Or if he wasn't gone, instead of getting 4 and 5 yard carries, he was taking it 10 and 11 each time.
Yep. And I really think we would have beaten Ohio State if he would have stayed healthy, but he gets hurt and a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and what this does to
Stroud
his
makes
value, because he had NFL potential written all over him, but the the Achilles is a brutal thing to come back from. And
I still think
if he can come back, somebody's going to get a hell of a player in the 4th round.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
That's just it. Somebody's going to get a hell of a bargain, but that's what's going to happen to him.
Well,
He's going to slide because he's not going to be able to show his wares. And it's too bad because he worked hard to get to that point. You feel bad for that.
But you know what? Sometimes it works out for the better, because you look at somebody like Nick Chubb. Obviously not the same injury, but Nick Chubb suffered injuries throughout college too. Slips later than people would have thought if he hadn't have been injured, and then he ends up in a situation where now, things are going great. He's in a great scheme, got the best offensive line. So, it could work out great. But I mean, the good thing for him is at least he got the time that he did. Teams saw what he was doing, and it wasn't like he was doing it against Boise State or Akron. He's doing it against a big boy program. And if teams see that, then they see him, get back, get healthy, get ready. He's an incredible player. He's phenomenal.
And one thing before I leave this topic. So if you ever wonder, what is the stuff of 17 years of doing this? It is being able to report a story like that and witness somebody that courageous. And I sure hope that they give him an opportunity to win a football game, for God's sakes, rather than putting him in so they don't get blown out. And there's a big damn difference between giving somebody a square, fair chance to win and then just putting somebody in just to make it better,
And he did it against Notre Dame, not a small school.
And I'll say this about Notre Dame. Brian Kelly should keep his fucking mouth shut. Brian Kelly's an idiot. Brian Kelly is a mordant fool. He has said many things in the past. He's had success at Notre Dame. I'm not going to deny that. If that's the number 9 team in the country, I'll eat my hat. If Cohn is a decent quarterback, I'll eat my hat. He's immobile, and he gets, he's playing against Florida State, and he's got the advantage of having athletes and the recruiting level that Florida State no longer has. But I'll tell you honestly, when after the game, you claim you're making a joke when you said, the old quote that was from the 76, was it 1976 Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers, when why am I blanking on his name?
McKay.
John McKay. Yeah, he what about your team's execution? I'm all for it. And when the woman interviewing Brian Kelly after the game says, "What did you think of your team's execution?" He goes, "Well, I'm really into execution, and I think based on the way we played, all of our players should be executed." It's like, don't bungle a joke. Don't fuck. I mean, you're not funny. And afterwards, he's saying, "I was just making a joke." With a stone face, You were making a joke. You're not funny, Brian Kelly. Just
with no context.
Oh, what an idiot.
And Jack Cohn was very dink and dunk at Wisconsin, so he's nothing too great.
Yeah, and I don't like Notre Dame. I don't like the program. I think it's two-faced. I don't like them.
Well, and here's the big problem with that is that who do they play the rest of the year? They're playing mostly mostly an ACC schedule, and we saw what Clemson has now. Granted, they're playing against Georgia, but they got nothing. Their offensive line is a sieve, and their defense is solid. But man, their offensive line is brutally bad.
That's the pride of the ACC right there.
That's it. I mean, I don't know where they're going to, the Notre Dame's not going to trip up. They're going to be coming into that playoff undefeated or close to it.
And that's
is it true that Notre Dame is playing that Sycamore High School?
Just about.
Bishop Sycamore, being from Columbus, yes. They do have a job opening, though. From what I understood, the head coach has been fired. So
seriously,
the sad part is I know 2 people who went there.
Oh my god!
Oh man! I mean,
sounds like an Italian guy. It's meant to be a Sycamore.
You may have already talked about it, but the idea behind making another IMG Academy in football crazy Ohio is not a bad idea. There's plenty of talented
it's done
kids.
Right. Good grief.
There's plenty of talented kids who are dropping through the cracks of whatever it is. But yeah, there's so many.
They all go to MAC schools because when Ohio State doesn't sign them, they either sign them. They either go to Michigan State or they go to your Bowling Greens or Western Michigans, and then they end up being pretty good.
Well, Derek, the other thing is they're going to Cincinnati now too, because Luke Fickell has definitely got some gravitas here. In the state.
Might make the playoffs this year. They are legit. Desmond Ridder is going to be a top pick in the NFL draft at quarterback. Incredible.
Seriously, if you want to start a program like Bishop Sycamore, you don't have to go about it that way by doing an IMG thing. You can do what Florida Gulf Coast did down here. I mean, a fucking commuter college, and you just illegally recruit everybody in. That's all you have to do. You know, the next thing you know is like, hey, we're Division I, and then you're in the playoffs, and you know.
Well, the best part was the announcers. They were like, yeah, we did not get any official word on this roster. We were told there's a lot of 5 stars. It's like, good grief.
Yeah,
well, yeah, it's because they're 22 years old, for God's sake, you know.
You know, it's like when a boxer comes to the ring, we don't have a verified record on this guy. Yeah, they grabbed him from the audience 2 hours before the fight. Seen that happen before, too. Goodness gracious. I got so much on my mind today, and I want to just do a quick thing here. All right? I don't do a lot of hard news here. A former Marine sharpshooter who said he received messages from God broke into 2 homes outside Lakeland, Florida early Sunday and fatally shot 4 people he did not know, including a 3-month-old baby, and wounded an 11-year-old, according to a criminal affidavit. He was outfitted in body armor and he barricaded himself in one of the homes and shot law enforcement officers before eventually surrendering. Once in custody, he tried to take a gun from a Lakeland police officer and had to be subdued. And that's all the further I got into this.
Do you think it's PSD related? Or PTSD, I'm sorry.
I don't give a fuck what it is. I don't give a fuck about him. I really do not. Do you realize that there are people who get out of their cars and resist arrest, who have no weapons on them whatsoever, who get shot and killed by police? It happens all the time.
I'm not defending him, by the way.
They get fucking tased. It happens all the fucking time. And this guy killed 4 fucking people, a 3-month-old baby, for God's sakes, and trying to kill the police, and they allow him to surrender because he was a Marine. Thank you for your service. There is an unequal standard of justice in this country. And if you're all dancing for joy that abortion has been limited and eradicated for an additional X number of weeks in the state of Texas, well, this guy killed a 3-year-old baby.
Yeah, I was not defending him. I don't want you to get me wrong there. I was just saying.
There ain't no defense.
Yeah.
I mean, you know something? You do that. I mean, why would they let him surrender? When he's sitting there firing at them, they fucking kill him. Get him out of there. He's going to kill more people with stray bullets. I don't understand. The standard of justice in this country is unequal. I'm going to say something else and I'm going to move on. All right? Why doesn't anybody talk about white on white crime? I'm not trying to be funny, folks. I'm just trying to be accurate. You realize that white on white crime, that 99% of the crimes, the violent crimes that white people commit, are against other white people.
Yeah. It's the same with black on black crime. Nobody talks about it because it's not cool to, you know.
I hear about black on black crime all the time because of Cabrini Green in the inner city, and in New York City and in Chicago and in South Central and all that. Hear that all the time. We don't hear about white on white crime because it's kind of like there's just an inequity in all of this. There's an inequity, and it's not that it's a color thing. It's like it's a status thing. If you're OJ and you're rich and you can afford good and you're famous, you can kill people and get out of it.
And post videos on Twitter all day.
And show do stabbing motions in front of a camera in a documentary. Yeah. Absolutely.
And put out a book called If I Did It. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. And I for one, just it makes me puke. I want to point out two ridiculous stories, and these are sports oriented, folks, and they're not political. The first one goes something like this. ESPN simulating the 2021 NFL season, projecting 285 games, biggest storylines, and a Super Bowl winner. All right?
Oh, boy.
Get this. We've combined 20,000 simulations.
What, they use Madden?
Who in the hell knows? You know. And so here is the wisdom that they've come up with. Jacksonville Jaguars rookie quarterback Trevor Lawrence kicked off his NFL career in a way that resembled his college career, winning. Coach Urban Meyer's team took advantage of a soft schedule out of the gate, beating Houston, Denver, and Arizona to start the season before dropping a game to the Bengals that then rebounded with a 31-14 victory over the Tennessee Titans.
Okay.
A 4-1 start for the Jags.
Okay.
That would be right there.
What
I mean,
is
the
that
goddamn
guy
computer's
smoking?
on acid. It's like,
Did they get the computer from Jacksonville? My goodness.
I mean, what the fuck? And get this. Here's their projected records through week 5. This isn't me, folks. This is ESPN and their stupid simulator. The Chiefs and the Colts will be 5-0. The Browns and the Jaguars will be 4-1.
The Colts at 5-0.
Wait, the Bills and Dolphins, the Steelers and Titans will be 3-2. The Titans will have been hammered handily by the Jaguars. The Chargers, Jets, Patriots, Raiders, and Ravens will be 2-3. Ravens fans are like, what the fuck? You're talking about Trevor Lawrence. What about our guy, Lamar Jackson? They'll be 2-3. The Bengals, Broncos, and Texans will be 1-4. Well, wait, it gets better. All right.
You know what the sad thing is, though? Their analysts are gonna feed them this stuff, and they're gonna treat it as if it's actually gonna happen. And this is how they'll report for the next week or so, as if this is what they're gonna project.
Yeah.
But listen to this. It says Lawrence's solid rookie year was bolstered by an immediate connection with receiver LaVisca Chenault Jr., who recorded 90 receptions for the year, helping them eventually to a 9-8 record and a wild card berth in the AFC with a 9-8 record. I mean, what kind of shit is this? I wouldn't read this to a child just to make him go to sleep. I wouldn't do this. This is ridiculous.
Pretty good comedy.
Oh, but then, I kept going through, then it says records through week 9. The Colts would be 8-1, having only lost to the fierce Jaguars. Okay,
8-1. What the?
The Browns and Chiefs will be 7-2. The Jaguars through week 9 will be 6-2. The Patriots will be 6-3. The Bills and Steelers will be 5-3. The Dolphins will be 5-4. The Raiders 4-4. And meanwhile, the Chargers, Jets, and Ravens will be 3-5.
The Chargers?
The Titans will be 3-6. What do these people have against Tennessee? The Bengals
Apparently
will be
Julio
2-7.
didn't do much.
The Bengals will be 2-7 along with the Broncos and the Texans. Texans got great news today about their quarterback situation. I'm sorry, Stephen. I am so sorry.
Well, the good news is if history goes as it repeats, then not Mackenzie Milton. Jeesh. What's his name? They just drafted out of Stanford. He'll be starting, and he'll probably be lighting up the league like Baker did and like Justin did. So there's that.
Get this. The Ravens will finish 7-10, a lost season. I mean,
did Lamar get hurt?
No. They're saying, well, he got no receivers. 7-10 for the Ravens. It's like,
did he the last 3 years?
Epic closing stretch from Jameis Winston pushes Saints into the postseason. It's like, I don't know, man. The Colombian that I smoked in college wasn't nearly this potent. records through week 12. The Chiefs will be 9-2. The Colts will be 9-3. The Bills will be 8-3. The Browns will be 8-4. The Patriots will be 7-5. The Steelers will be 6-5. The Dolphins will be 6-6. All right, so that's where this is going. And then a late push from the Cowboys wins them the NFC East. Give them a fucking Cupid doll, for God's sakes. The NFC East, I don't know. I think Bishop Sycamore might have a chance against the NFC East.
What do they got Fitzmagic doing?
Who's he play for?
Washington.
I can't keep track of where the hell he is. All right, here's your final records. We'll go AFC and NFC. I've been only talking AFC because that's where we're at. The Bills will finish 13-4. The Colts will finish 13-4. The Browns will finish 12-5. The Chiefs will be 11-6. You think the Chiefs are going to lose 6 games? Please. The Dolphins will be 10-7. The Steelers will be 9-8. The Jaguars will be 9-8. The Chargers will be 9-8. The Titans will be 8-9. The Patriots 8-9. The Ravens 7-10. All right, and from there it goes to hell. If you're wondering, the Buccaneers will be 12-5 according to the simulation by ESPN. 49ers will be 12-5. The Packers will be 11-6. The Cowboys will be 10-7. The Saints will be 11-6. The Rams will be 9-8. And then it goes, the Vikings will be 8-9. You'll be happy to hear that, Tony. You'll be playing 500 football, which I think you'd sign up for right now.
I was about to say the Cowboys fans will be happy. They're not going 8-8. Well, I guess you can't now, but
right. All right, here's the next prediction from the simulator. Browns beat Chiefs in postseason.
there we go.
Yeah, the Browns will finish 12-5. However, according to them, the Browns would win a wild card round against the Steelers, a 35-30 barn burner. However, they would beat the Chiefs 20-12 as their defense would hold the Chiefs to 12 points. It's like, what the fuck is this?
There's not a team in the league that'll hold the Chiefs to 12 points this season.
But don't feel great, Browns fans. Ultimately, you'll face the number 1 seeded Bills, who will beat the Browns 27-13. And yes, Baker Mayfield will throw 2 interceptions in that game.
Of course, it's ESPN.
All right, so, and the Bills will win Super Bowl. Yeah, that's wonderful. They're going to win. They're going to win 27-17.
If this was Fox, I would understand the urban hype a little bit, but ESPN, he didn't even work for them, and they're giving him a little too much credit there.
I think CBS has Packers Bills with the Browns bowing out to the Chiefs, but not even winning the division. When they have the Steelers with all 3 teams in the AFC, they have all of them. They have 10-7 for the Steelers, Browns, and Ravens, and have the Ravens not making the playoffs.
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
Hey. Hope everything's okay on your end, buddy.
I wish.
Yeah, I guess not. Okay.
This shit's been going on since fucking 20 minutes to 1 in the morning.
What shit is going on? Why don't you fill us in?
Biological disorders.
Oh,
in the
wow.
colon region.
You shit yourself again?
No.
Okay.
But
Well,
it damn near,
reassuring.
it really felt like my colon was falling out of my ass.
Ooh.
Yeah. So,
Ow.
not so much fun.
So if we're going to do the joke right, should we say wrecked him, damn near killed him?
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, that's actually pretty accurate.
So I thought to myself, I've read it all now with the ESPN simulation. But no, it comes in second place for ludicrous stories. And I asked this guy to be on the air, and I did not. I've not yet received a response because I really believe that it's nice to have people on, especially young guys like like Derek. We like to cultivate young people who.
Sometimes it doesn't go well, as given some of the stupid things I've said. But
No, I mean,
well.
but the whole idea is that this show is open, and but this article was written by a guy named Ryan Pulaski, and he is it's up on the fan-sided site, stillcurtain.com. He's a Steeler guy. And,
Oh, well, that explains it.
well, no, I mean, look, I'd love to have somebody who's a Bengals guy, a Steeler guy, and a Ravens guy. So when we play these teams, we can talk with them because, to me, you cultivate relationships that way.
Is it behind the stillcurtain.com?
Well, listen to this.
Sorry.
This is how he sizes up 2021 in the AFC North. Fourth place, the Cincinnati Bengals with a 6-11 record, 1-5 of the division. All right. All right. So nobody so far.
We're okay with that.
Yep. Third place, the Cleveland Browns, 9-8, 3-3 division record. Get this. This might raise some eyebrows for people, but the Browns have a difficult schedule going to 2021. They had some playoff success by defeating the Steelers and pushing Kansas City to their limits. It was a great step forward for the team, but this is a very talented division. Baker Mayfield is not the real deal, and this team heavily relies on the running game for success.
I see where this is going. Keep going.
All right. Their defense is the real deal, and those two positive aspects should allow this team to stay in the playoff hunt for a while. Their defense is the real deal? It's like, did you watch?
Wait a minute. Are you watching? Yeah, I think you're watching the wrong team here. Granted, the real deal on paper, maybe. But
this is the guy who programmed the computer that did the ESPN simulation. It's the only thing I can think of. All right. Next, second place in the division. Well, second place, the Ravens. That's right.
Of course.
4-2 divisional record. Oh, no. Oh, God. Make it not so. The AFC North champions, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Please tell me he says undefeated.
11-6 with a 4-2 division record, but they're able to edge out the Ravens by winning some more AFC conference games. And I thought to myself,
Give me some of what he's smoking.
why do I do this show?
He's drinking Allegheny River water. You definitely don't want that, Derek.
Oh my God! Here's some quick sound bites you can grab from me if you want. You can grab something else if you want.
Grab your ass with both hands.
Does Anthony Schwartz have a future in the return game? With a name like that, he should be an accountant. What return game? The vast majority of kickoffs are not returned, okay? And punt returns, the team average 4.8 yards, and the Browns themselves have acknowledged that it's about possession. They're not going to put Anthony Schwartz with his questionable hands back to catch punts. That's going to be Demetric Felton, and if that doesn't work out, it's going to be Dearness Johnson. And if that doesn't work out, then it will be Donovan Peoples-Jones. But no, Anthony Schwartz is, what kind of a stupid-ass question is that? Why would somebody write that question in of all others? Make it stop, dear God. Just make it stop. Cleveland.com gets into the business too. What do the odds makers think of the team's chances of going to the Super Bowl? And they said, the Jaguars will make it. No. A consensus of odds makers have the Browns at 16-1 odds to win the Super Bowl. That's the 8th best in the NFL. I'm not worried about the Browns winning a Super Bowl. The Chiefs are favored with between 9-2 and 5-1 odds. And this is everything the country has become. I'm seeing things now. Stadiums named after Caesar's Palace. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is Bally Sports?
Valley
Network?
Sports Ohio.
Yeah, what the fuck is this all about?
Little Caesars Arena in Detroit. A little bit different.
God. I don't know. So yeah, 16 to 1 if you're,
and ESPN now has a daily betting show on, which is something. Yeah, I mean, it was a big different thing when you're making predictions for the NFL on a Sunday, and that's a big deal or whatever, or they're maybe making some collegiate things, but now you have a daily betting show.
Is it on ESPN or ESPN Plus?
It's actually on one of the actual ESPN channels. It's on one of the broadcast channels.
It's a cancer. It is a cancer. Once this, and the league has no problem with it. Gambling. Pete Rose is out of the Baseball Hall of Fame. And they're
Along
doing
with Shoeless Joe Jackson.
I didn't even think about this. Was that guy on the Steel Curtain Report or whatever? Was he sponsored by the casino there in Pittsburgh? Because they now have a sports book, and if people put a whole bunch of money on the Steelers, they could make a lot of cash to do that. So I'm just thinking.
He's just a young kid. He's a young kid, man, and he's a fan. And he's sponsored by Milk of Magnesia. He's constipated. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, everything I was reading today was so full of shit. It was ridiculous.
You had to
being
say
executed.
that. You fucking had to say that.
Well, you're not anymore, so that's okay, right?
Well, yeah, the sewer system
Literally.
in Phoenix now is.
Yeah, I'll tell you. About 2 weeks ago, I had to take some painkillers for my back, and I got thoroughly constipated. Everyone today is thoroughly constipated. Yeah, and it was horrible. And I took Miralax, for overnight relief. And the next day, nothing happened, And it's like, well, take some more. I took too much Miralax, And
Oy
is right. I mean, I was playing Java by Al Hurt out of my ass. I mean, it was. I was bending over. It was like, please make this stop. And it hurt. Oh my God. It was just like clenching inside. My colon was clenching, That sounds like something Bruce Drennan would say. My colon was just clenching. Yeah, go ahead.
This program's gone straight to shit. You realize that?
It has. But I mean, everything was shit today. Everything I was reading was shit. Brian Kelly executing his team. That was shit. Mackenzie Milton not
No, that was
game,
funny.
That was shit.
Oh my God, that was funny.
Oh no, this is. And then
My comment under that from whoever posted the video on Twitter was, well, that's not very Catholic of him, but it sure is Celtic of him.
Yeah, God Almighty, and and then there's Georgia football. All right, the highest spike of COVID-19, despite the fact that more than 90% of the team's been vaccinated. There's no way to get out of this, folks. There's no way out. You want to know what the beauty of it is? The beauty of it is Georgia is not requiring fans to show proof of vaccination or a negative COVID-19 test to attend the games. Capacity 92,746. I mean, I keep telling you that everything is shit today, man. Everything is shit. Do you know how many cases, if 92,000 people show up, and if 500 of them are positive, do you know how many people will walk out of that stadium? I mean, you could easily have a super spreader thing where 20,000, 10,000 or whatever people will walk out with that. I keep a close eye on NFL cities too, and how the NFL cities, once the season starts and the stadiums fill up, and wait till you see the spikes in this. It's going to be horrible. I don't know, man. And there's no good answer. No good answer to any of it, except that the Jaguars are going to win 4 of their first 5. That you've learned here. That everything's shit today. Every fucking thing. That's why I do this show. We can all cheer. The Wolverines lost Ronnie Bell, their best wide receiver, for the rest of the season with a knee injury. I'm not cheering that.
No, they're going to struggle.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem.
Well, they were going to struggle regardless.
Yeah, yeah.
And Ibrahim is also out for the year.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. You know, the last thing I want to say is that, you know, we have hope. The Browns season might begin and it may not go the way we want it to, but we have hope. Today, officially, the Houston Texans named Tyrod Taylor their starting quarterback, if you didn't hear the news.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, I mean,
oh.
what could be worse?
It's almost hilarious. It's almost hilarious how bad that poor team has gotten. It sucks. I feel bad for Texans fans at this point in time. I mean, could they get a more oddball collection of cast-offs and whatnots? Jeez.
Well, this is the priority, and your pizza is the number one priority, Derek. Get that pizza. Go for it. You know what's beautiful? First 17-game season, and you got to sit through Tyrod Taylor, and the guy won't get hurt. He will not get hurt. He will be invincible. I mean, they can.
But is he titanium? Made of titanium?
Yeah. My God, look at Stay Puft guy back there. He's just sitting there going, yeah, fuck, man. Good thing I'm not a Texans fan. I mean, could you imagine? It would destroy this guy. I mean, he is the white marshmallow of hope. And Tyrod Taylor is soul-crushing. It's soul-crushing. It's 13 points without a cloud of dust. My God, it's horrific. And he will not get hurt. I guarantee you he will not go down this season. They will bench him before he goes down. 17 games of that. It's just horrible. Hi there. Roxanne tunes in to see the Stay Puft guy behind me. That's where we're at. God almighty. So, at any rate, this is the final show before we start getting into business on Friday of predicting the game ourselves. But believe me, I'm not going to start predicting things ridiculously. I'm going to tell you what I honestly think is going to happen, and I'm keeping it to myself until we go through this week. But I am terrified. I am absolutely terrified that this whole COVID thing is going to change the face of football more this year than it did last year. And that's a frightening thought. It's a frightening thing because...
oh, but it's a miracle drug. The vaccine will prevent everybody from getting COVID. Except it doesn't.
Well, the bottom line is that the vaccine it gives protection, but not nearly as long is what they'd hoped. And what we're seeing, and nor was it made for this variant. It was made for the original one, and trying to keep
Isn't that
up
what
with
I
it.
said when they released the fucking thing back in December?
What's up?
I could have sworn I said that shit.
Everybody knew that if the thing hung around
but they
long
kept
enough,
lying and lying and lying. Oh, well, if you only take the vaccine, we can have a nice 4th of July.
No.
Yeah, these fucking fascist assholes. Oh, my God.
No, well, I can tell you what really happened. What really happened is when you didn't make a quick move on the initial virus, and you did not get the vaccine out until the end of the year, okay? When that happened, the variant came through. It would have required much faster action, and if you would have been able to vaccinate against the present variant, then it would have changed everything. But unfortunately, we didn't move fast enough. The pharmaceutical companies couldn't get going fast enough. We couldn't agree as a country to go in that direction fast enough. And now you're right. You're right. The current vaccine, which was not created to kill the Delta variant, is now wearing thin, and the Delta variant is infecting all kinds of people. And it's more unvaccinated than vaccinated. But being vaccinated doesn't mean you can just go out and go to a 92,000 capacity football stadium and walk away, clean. And to make this a point as to whether you should have taken the vaccine in the first place, any person who didn't take it is a fucking moron, okay? The bottom line is that now with booster, I don't understand the whole booster thing. If it's still not made for this variant, it's going to give us additional protection against hospitalization. But what they're finding is that people who got the vaccine are also being hospital admitted. It's a huge problem. I just am scared to death to see what's going to happen in the NFL. I really am. It's going to change the face of how the season plays out, because it goes like wildfire. And if it does it again, and they've already said it's going to be teams that are going to be forfeiting based on that.
I've already been affected by it on my officiating schedule. Some of the teams that we've had have canceled out for the same thing. There was one of them this weekend that was supposed to play, only had 5 volleyball girls available due to, now granted, not all of them had COVID. Some of them were quarantining issues. But still, it was that type of a thing. And those folks, they're young. They're able to fight it a lot better than old folks like myself, I'm sure. So,
well, you wait. School's starting. I mean, that's going to go together with all the stadium stuff. All these crowds at sporting events, and you're going to add that to that, kids going to school. And the fact is, everybody wanted to get back. Everyone wanted to get back to their normal life, and I don't blame people.
We all want to get back. Yeah,
absolutely.
I want to be able to go to. I want to go to a restaurant or go to a club or go to a concert. I want to do all that stuff, And I guess the question is, what kind of a risk are you willing to take that somebody, you're going to be in a big crowd. There's going to be something out there. There always is.
A friend of mine who's in the neighborhood walking his dog, and he said to me, "Yeah, we went out to a restaurant." And I said, "Oh, that's nice." And he goes, "We went to Speaks. That's a restaurant down the road." And he goes, and there were 2 very vivacious women who were sitting at the table beside us. He goes, it was a little disconcerting because the tables were closer than he thought they were going to be. But the 2 women, were fiestivating, drinking, being happy and being loud, but not in an obnoxious way. And when they were finishing up their meal, the women turned to them and said, "We just wanted to let you know that we're not vaccinated." And he goes, "Really?" And they said, "Yeah, we're nurses at Sarasota Memorial Hospital."
I told you the story about that tens of thousands of fucking medical personnel are refusing to take the vaccine.
But you see, here's the thing that's interesting about it.
And that was months ago.
Yeah, we knew that this was a problem, that only about 40% of the people were taking, and now it's saying maybe as low as 20 to 30 in large hospitals. But you see, the bottom line is that there's nursing shortages anyway. So the hospital is being yanked by the short hairs. They can't make the people get the vaccine, but it should make you feel much more comfortable that people who are involved in the healthcare system are not doing anything in their personal lives. They're going out into public areas and allowing the the virus into their lives, and then they're going back to work the next day. It should make your rest easier in your hospital room. The whole thing is a clusterfuck from the start to the finish. So, and I'm afraid we talk about sports, but it's going to be bad.
But one thing before we go, condolences to the family that was slaughtered for no other way to put it in Florida by the ex-Marine.
Yeah, the guy lived 45 minutes north of me, and we talked about that in the beginning of the show. So if you want to know what I think about that, go back to the beginning of the show. I'll clue you in, Brian. What I said was, there's no way that cocksucker should have been allowed to surrender. They should have shot and killed him. And I'm sick and tired.
Absolutely.
I mean,
I agree with you on that. Absolutely.
I mean, what the hell? There are people getting out of their cars trying to escape, for being pulled over because they knew they did something bad, and they get tased, they get shot, and they don't even carry a weapon. This guy's firing at the cops. He's killed 4 people, including a 3-month-old baby. For God's sakes,
Yeah.
And they let him surrender because he was a Marine. Make it stop. Just make it stop. I'm done.
Yeah.
It's after 7, and hey, we'll be back Friday to talk about the Browns and the Chiefs, and how exciting will that be? Stay healthy, Browns. Stay healthy, Browns. That's all I can say. Let's get our best team on the field on Sunday, and we'll be doing halftime and postgame shows. So everything is a full go for this weekend. Thanks everybody for tuning into this.
And Hammer's dog agrees.
My dog's already barking. She's ready to go. We'll see you on the post-game show.
You bet. And thanks everybody for tuning in. And we'll be back again Friday with the predictions. Until then, hasta la vista, faster heads. Good night.
All right.